I was in the gym just going, wow, I'm glad I chose this path.
And Greg's 70s afro will be inducted in a separate ceremony.
So Mark, let me get this straight. There's men's beach volleyball in the Olympics?
Welcome, sports fans, to this week's edition of Sports with Aurora. Yours truly, Lowell McClain.
That's what gets you into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame.
Bobby Orr, how about that? Stand up, Bobby Orr. Let's give a hello to everybody.
Speaking of the Gardners, from a guy who paid it forward to a family that has played it forward for many years. From a grandfather to a father, sons and brothers. You talk about generational hockey players. How about a 3-generation hockey team? And tonight we induct a father and son into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. To the video screen for Dave and Ryan Gardner.
David Calvin Gardner and Ryan Robert Gardner follow in the footsteps of Cal Gardner, their father and grandfather respectively. The 3 generations have left their mark on the sport of ice hockey both nationally and internationally.
I work as a nurse, and I remember one of my patients coming in and he had a Toronto Maple Leafs blanket on, and I said, you know, my grandfather played for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And he knew who he was. And I could just see in his face how happy he was, and he sort of had something to relate to me. And whenever I tell people about my grandparents, or my grandfather, and my dad, and my brother, they all think it's really amazing.
Cal Gardner, a hockey legend in his own right, played for the Toronto Maple Leafs, winning the Stanley Cup twice. David Gardner was born in Toronto on August 23, 1952. His son, Ryan Gardner, was born in Akron, Ohio on April 18, 1978, while his dad was playing in the NHL for the Cleveland Barons.
My dad's words of wisdom were 2 of them. Go get the puck, and when you got the puck, move it and keep skating. And that was it. He never said anything else to me other than that.
Dave, who I've seen over the years, is one of the most generous guys that I've known, and generous in both how he treats people that are teammates of his, how he treats people that are not teammates of his, people that he associates with because of the fact that he's an athlete and so forth. So generosity, and you see that characteristic playing out in Ryan. You see Ryan helping young kids to play the game today, you know, and those sort of things. So respect, responsibility, generosity, those are the kind of things that I think are hallmarks of the 2 of them, really.
From an early age, it was obvious that Dave would follow in his father Cal's footsteps. He grew up playing minor hockey in Leaside, and in 1970 he was drafted to the OHA by the Peterborough Petes. He quickly moved to the Toronto Marlboros, where he had an outstanding rookie season, scoring 137 points in 62 games. That year, he was the recipient of the Red Tilson Trophy, which is awarded annually to the most outstanding player in the league, the MVP. Dave's professional hockey career began in 1972 when he was drafted 8th overall to the Montreal Canadiens. He was then traded to the St. Louis Blues, where he played 23 games and scored 9 points. Midway through the 1974-75 season, Dave was traded to the California Golden Seals, who later became the Cleveland Barons, where he played 289 games and scored 166 points. During his time with the club, Dave had 4 consecutive seasons where he scored at least 16 goals per season. While in the NHL, Dave played 348 games and scored a total of 188 points.
His vision of the ice was so good. He could shoot backhand and forehand equally. And you know, they don't teach that stuff as much anymore. And he was just terrific, and a lot. You could make a rink-wide pass off the backhand on the stick. No problem. And he was just terrific.
In 1980, Dave's hockey career began a new chapter when he accepted an offer to play in Europe with the Swiss second division Ambri-Piotta hockey team. When he played in Switzerland, the arena he played in was at the foot of a mountain, and the roof was open halfway to protect the rink from avalanches. This is one of Ryan Gardner's first memories of watching his dad play hockey. After playing in Europe from 1980 to 1988 for both the Swiss A team, Ambri-Piotta, and the Swiss B team, Visp, Dave retired with 305 assists and 362 goals in 255 games played. Ryan Gardner, who was inspired by his father's career and leadership, continued the family legacy. He began playing minor hockey in Switzerland. When his family moved back to Canada, he continued playing in Aurora as a student of Cardinal Carter Catholic School and with the Greater Toronto Hockey League. In 1995, Ryan was drafted into the OHL by the London Knights. He played with them for 2 seasons before being traded to the North Bay Centennials, where he played 2 more seasons. In 1998, Ryan left home at the age of 19 to live in Switzerland and play with the Ambri-Piotta Under-20 in the Elite Junior A League. He quickly learned how to take care of himself. His only contact with home was a weekly collect call from a payphone. His self-discipline paid off on the ice. From a technical standpoint, his biggest challenge was his skating speed, but he learned to play smart.
When we got the call to go back to Europe, and I said, you know what, Ryan, why don't you try it? I mean, your first language was Italian, so why don't you just go back there and see what it's like? Well, 21 years and winning 7 Swiss championships is unbelievable. I mean, that is, you know, I can't believe it. I mean, it was hard enough to, I didn't win 1 Swiss championship when I was there, and I was, you know, 8 years there, so it's hard to believe that he won 7 in that length of time. But the good part is he's a good boy. That's it.
From 2004 to 2007, Ryan was a member of Team Canada. When he was not playing for the Swiss NLA teams, he competed with Team Canada for the Deutschland, Hungarian, Spengler, and Lotto Cups. As a citizen of Switzerland, Ryan was also able to play for the Swiss national team and brought home a silver medal at the 2013 Ice Hockey World Championships. The following year, he competed for Team Switzerland at the Sochi Winter Olympics.
It used to be, they talk about Dave Gardner. Now they talk about Ryan Gardner, which is wonderful.
During his 20-year career in the Swiss A League, Ryan scored 798 points in 1,057 games, won 4 league titles, the Champions Hockey League, 2 Continental Cups, the Super Cup, Victoria Cup, and the Swiss Cup. He made 2 league all-star teams and scored the most points in the playoffs twice.
So what I'd like people to know about my dad and my brother are that they're a big part of this community. They love this town, they love Aurora, they love the people in it. We all do. We've been here for the last 30 years, and it really has become a part of our lives. My brother and I grew up here. We've both now bought homes here.
Dave and Ryan, congratulations on your induction into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. It's so impressive that you're being inducted together, and so appropriate too. So all the very best. Thanks, buddy.
So I just want to say congratulations, Dad and Ryan. I'm so proud of you guys. This community is proud of you, and I'm so happy that they're honoring you tonight.
You know what, son? I'm so proud of you, and I want to congratulate you on being inducted into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. I'm so proud.
And now, in recognition of their athleticism and contributions to the sport of ice hockey, we are proud to welcome David Calvin Gardner and Ryan Robert Gardner into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame.
Here they are, father and son, three-generation family. I want to call up Mike Dinner, appropriately of Tom and Jerry's, to the stage to help out with the presentation. We're going to have a little hot stove as well here with Gardsy. Congratulations. Congrats. That's awesome. Gardsy.
Always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. So we're going to have a little hot stove league. Okay, so at one time, you and Paul were Cal's sons, right? Then Cal became your father because that's how it was recognized. You know, Cal was now, I'm Dave and Paul Gardner's dad. Then you were...
See, Rod, you're forgetting one person. My mother.
Oh, there she's right there.
My mother, Mary.
There. The son, exactly. But so then, everybody referenced you as Dave Gardner's son. Then you became Ryan Gardner. Who was no, you know what I mean. We're going with that. So how did it all start? Like, let's start with you, Dave, and your love of the game, which I've known you for many years. You played for such a long time. You love the game. You just love being with the guys. And I'm convinced that you never played hockey to be at any Hall of Fame. You just love the game so much.
Well, I think the thing was, Rod, we had the opportunity. So I consider Leaside, where I grew up, with the facilities and the opportunity for kids to be able to play the game. When I look around here in Aurora, I see the same thing. I mean, 5 arenas. And then they're flooding the, when it's cold enough and snows here, I think, no, I didn't like that too much today. But anyways.
It's hockey weather.
Yeah, I know. But they flood the parks for the kids. There's baseball courts, there's soccer courts, there's just everything for them to be able to get involved in sports. And I think that was the biggest thing because my parents wouldn't allow me just to play hockey. There was baseball in the summer and golf. As you know, I love golf. And that was it. And we played as much sports as we could. And I think that's the key to just let your, I forgot about the one important thing, your education.
Yeah, remember where we are.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, I'll tell you where I went, but no, I went to St. Mike's and, and it was great. Actually, one of my teachers is here tonight, Mr. Joe Yonder. And anyways, you know what, we had, they loved sports as much as I did, but they also knew that if you didn't make it in sports, where are you going if you don't have an education? So they made us, well, they didn't make us, but St. Mike's, and then I went on to university at York while I was playing junior, and then unfortunately I didn't have time after that when I was in the NHL.
We're a little busy with those Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, well, I was trying to keep up with them.
I want to go to you, Ryan. What was it like being around this generation of, I mean, you were born to be a hockey player, I guess, in many ways. What was it like those early days, and how did you become the player that you became?
Well, I think, growing up in a rink and stuff like that, it becomes natural. I got very lucky to have my dad and my grandfather and many other people that are from Aurora. Mr. Murphy was always around, and my Uncle Phil, and guys that knew the game or taught the game. I don't want to say correctly, but and it was the way it was. Like Dad said. I mean, I remember driving around with him, actually looking for ponds that we could skate on. I mean, there was a good one down at Henderson and Bathurst. We used to shovel off there, and then down on the bottom there. And my buddies and I, we would go and skate, and we'd drive out to Schaumburg and skate. And as a young age, that's what we did. And I got a lot of good coaching from this guy over here. And from everybody else that helped, and that helped. That was a big help, you know, growing up. And then, you know, as we move forward, you know, getting to see him play in Switzerland, he was, you know, it was a big thing. You know, your dad was a big star, and you wanted to be like him, and you know, and it's not a bad place to live. And being able to come here home and every summer was probably the two best places in the world to be.
Dave, what do you think this game, you know, you look at all your numbers and all your accomplishments and what you've done. What did this game leave with you? What did this game do to you?
Well, I think, Rod, there was that, you know, you have to give up something. You can't, on Friday nights when you want to go out with the buddies, or you want to go out with your girlfriend, or you wanted to do something like that, there was no way that my mom was going to let me do that. And I had to be home and get to bed because I had a game the next
Look at
day.
her.
You know, but I will tell you, Rod, that she told the Frank Pinello, who was our coach of the Marlies, he phoned one time. He says, "Is Dave there?" It was 11 o'clock. "Is Dave there?" He says, "Oh, he's there, but there's a tree that fell down onto the road and it's blocking our driveway." So Dave's out with Cal, and they're trying to get the tree up. Meanwhile, you know, I wasn't home yet, right? But anyways, I think there, you miss things. You know, you think, oh, why I'd like to go out with them, or I'd like to go to the Dairy Queen, or I'd like to go there, but you went home, and you committed that time to make sure that you were ready to play the game, or play any game. Didn't even matter with baseball or whatever. And I think that is one of the big things that I talk to kids about now. I'm not telling you to give up your life. I'm actually going to go say, enjoy your life, go out there and do things. But you know, if you get committed or you're interested in a sport, then you know you have to give up something. You know, and don't be worried about it that your buddies are doing something else. You know. Anyways, I think that was the biggest thing, and then I think Europe taught me an awful lot too about I would say conditioning. I mean, those guys are always working out. Yeah. And then the other thing is they didn't drink beer, which really threw me right off.
They eventually were from Olsen, remember?
Yeah, I know. But I get on the bus and we just won a game, and the guy at the front of the bus opens up 2 bottles of wine, and I'm going, what the hell is this? I don't want wine. And yet my bus driver, who was a great guy, knew that and there was always a 6-pack underneath my nice suit, so I was okay with that. But you know what, the Swiss are very committed to what they do, and all of them. I mean, they walk everywhere. You know, they don't take maybe a bicycle, yes, but they don't get in the car. And unfortunately here in Canada, we have to. We're a little bit, our distance is a little bit farther apart. But I mean, I just learned a lot from those people too about trying to stay in shape, and you know, not stay in shape, but just you know, make sure that you're not goofy all the time or stupid. Anyways, you better ask Ryan there.
Well, Ryan, when you went to Sochi, were they drinking wine and did they have 6-packs under their beer when you went? But think about the legacy that your dad and others paved the way for Switzerland. Imagine to get a chance to go to Europe. They can't imagine your son gets a chance to play for Switzerland, and not only that, to win a silver medal at the World Hockey Championship. I know Tom and Jerry's was busy that day.
Oh,
that day I was on the air when that happened. But you must have thought, I mean, that moment.
Rod, don't tell anybody, but I served them beer early.
Mayor? Yeah. You were in an office then, don't worry. But I do want to ask you, though, about that moment and what that meant to you. I mean, I know it wasn't a gold medal, but it still had to feel like gold, and you must have thought about your family, especially your dad.
Yeah, I mean, being away, it's always tough. Knowing that there's a lot of people back home watching is huge for us, for myself and my family. We didn't think we'd get that far that year with Switzerland, but starting off 9-0 and then beating Canada, the Czechs, the Americans in the semis, and then you know, just unfortunately losing to those two twins that came back to play for Sweden. So, but you know, I almost missed the birth of my second boy for that. Luckily got home in time for his day here in Newmarket, but yeah, it was great. And knowing that everybody's watching at home and it's proud, and it was the same when I was able to play for Team Canada Spangler Cup, you know, knowing that there was support back home made it even better. You know, they weren't there as much as maybe other kids in Switzerland had, but I was, you know, very blessed to have them back home watching and supporting us and, you know, pumping the Swiss tires a little bit, so we need that.
I'm going to let Pops go in a second, but you heard him say congratulations to you. I'm sure you probably want to congratulate this guy as well.
Sure. Yeah, you let me thank somebody beforehand.
As many people as you want.
I'll go quick. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the committee and all the people that made this night possible. The inductees with us, got to great meet people. What you've done in your sport for this town is amazing. I'd like to thank all the people that came here, my friends and family. They've gone through snowstorms for a lot of stuff, and they're here again. And if you want to talk about what Aurora is, I mean, I have pretty much our whole streets here, all our friends and family. So that's Aurora right there. You know, a lot of people helped me throughout the years. Good family friends from the cottage, the Fodeys, and they're here. I'd like to thank my mom for taking those 6 o'clock in the morning calls from the payphone collect. When I didn't have a phone, when I started over there, my mother-in-law and father-in-law for letting me take their daughter away to Switzerland for many years. And then to this guy over here, my dad, you know, growing up, he was my biggest hero. I wanted to be like him. I wore every number like him. You know, I watched him play, I mimicked him, and he taught me a lot. And you know, we're best friends to this day still now. We talk every day, and I wouldn't be where I am without him. You know, I'm fortunate to have that, and that's what, you know, I want to try to do for my two boys is give back and teach them not just to be a good hockey player, but to be a good person, and I think that's what he's done to me. Lastly, I'd like to thank my wife and my family, my two boys. You know, without her, it wouldn't have been possible. She sacrificed, like everybody said, you sacrifice a lot to let us, you know, do what we love. You know, leaving your family, leaving, you know, her friends, and never complaining and being over there with me for so many years. And without you, it would have been possible. And I'm glad that you're here with my two boys to help celebrate this, and with my father, who, you know, like I said, without him, I don't know where I would be. So thank you, Dad. I love you.
What you love most about this dinner and you love about sports is the great champions never forget their home. No. This guy never forgot where you're from. I mean, that's the main thing. You played in Switzerland, you represented Switzerland, you played for Canada, I'm sure, as well, but you never forgot Aurora. So thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you.
Guardsy?
Yes, sir. Right.
You've had so many great moments in your life, YouTube moments I'm sure that you could frame forever. How does this moment tonight rank for you?
Well, you know what, I consider this my hometown now. If you were to be on, let's just say national television, you know, at a Raptors game or something, where are you from? You go, where are you from? I'd say Aurora, Ontario. Before we always said Toronto, and then God, you tell the Swiss people, they don't even know where Canada is. So. This means an awful lot. There's a lot of people in the room that I recognize, and you know, you don't remember everybody's name, and that's kind of unfortunate. But then again, Joe Yonder was my teacher, and he didn't teach me well enough to remember. But there is a few people that I would like to thank, and they're sitting down there, but I don't know if they've been into the bar again. But I got, you know, after you finish your career, you get anxious. You wonder what are you going to do with yourself. And I did have a nice job, and Rod mentioned it with Molson Breweries, but I still wanted to play hockey. I didn't want to quit. And I was able to meet these guys on Fridays the Friday hockey guys, and I think there's about 8 of them that are here tonight, and I want to thank you guys very much. They didn't like me very much unless I brought the beer. Anyways, you know, Ryan's mother and mother of Jennifer, my daughter, who spoke up there, she was with me the whole time through the hockey career. And, you know, I couldn't have done it without it. I don't know how these guys say, oh, I want to be single and oh, it's fancy free and all this kind of stuff. You know what? You've been on the road for 6 days. You've lost 2 out of 3 games. You go home. You need somebody to talk to. Or you need to just have craft dinner and hot dogs. You need to have tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwiches. You need to have something that makes you feel comfortable. And she always did that. And as Ryan has said too, I'm thrilled about the fact I get to the rink as much as I can to watch Ryan's boys play and Jennifer's kids play, Jada and Eli. And I get there and I love listening to the parents. They're 7 years old. They're 6. What are you doing? Oh, you should. No, backwards. Go up there. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Anyways, you drop a puck out there, let them go and get the puck and let them have a good time. But you know what? I've been blessed with 3 children, and they're all wonderful. They're all thoughtful and caring, and that's, like I've already thanked Mom already. But in the end, I didn't mention my wife Marion and my son Matt, who now have to put up with me like this. So you know how their battle is. I mean, they think they're in a game, a rugged game every night, trying to help me around. And to you people out there, to the other inductees, my God, we've been together 2 days in a row, but you know what, it's been a lot of fun to talk to them and to hear their stories. And you know, that's the other great part about it. You know, I'm pretty sure, Tim, didn't I know you when I did the Canadian Open a couple of years with Molson Breweries. I don't know why you don't remember. Well, maybe you don't. Anyways, and like I said, and to you people, organizers, the committee that decided to put Ryan and I in, and Mr. Rod Black, who's been a friend for a long time.
Love you, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, father and son, Dave and Ryan Gardner, now members of the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. Here, I'll get your sweater. We'll get your sweater on for you here. I'll take your mic. Yeah, you gotta put that sweater. You wore a few different sweaters in your career. That is so cool. You know, you get into sports because of your parents or your guardians, from grandfather to father, grandmother to mother to daughter, whatever it might be, how you get involved in sports, it becomes family. And I think this really epitomizes what sport in Aurora is all about as well. Let's hear it for them.